And welcome to Hero Power. I'm your host, Avanties, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Zerotio.
What's up, gang? How are you all doing?
Oh man. It's been a long week, and I'm tired. But we got a show to do, and just a little bit of news to talk about this week. First up, though, how was your week, Zerotio?
It was good. Long because, or the week was long because I actually had to work yesterday. So it's like I'm cramming all my weekend duties and Hearthstone play and gameplay and everything into one day instead of a full weekend. So I did my THL match today. Was able to pull out a win.
Congratulations.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to pull the win as a team, but very, very close. Those close losses are important because that keeps us in contention for playoffs. So, and we still are. So we'll have a tough week this coming week because we play the best team in the conference. But yeah, we're up for the challenge.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, we don't have any emails or iTunes reviews, and my week in Hearthstone ties right into our first news topic today. So we might as well jump right into it, and that is Galakrond's Awakening. Chapter 1 is live. So if you missed it, we've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks. The build up is over. It is live. It is available to play for everybody on the evil side.
Yes. You can do the Explorer side as long as you're willing to invest the 700 gold. Now, I've heard a lot of people get really confused that they're like, it's going to be 700 gold for each story. And it's 700 gold for each chapter. So if you pay 700 gold this week, you only get the Explorer side because the evil side was free. But if you pay 700 gold for week 2, which comes out Tuesday, you'll get both stories. Now, to offset that, they've given 3 extra cards out of Chapter 1. So you actually can earn a total of 11 cards where all the rest are just 8.
Yes. So, all right. So we've now had 5 days with this new adventure. So what are your first impressions of Chapter 1, Zeroshia?
Well, you said we had 5 days with this first chapter. I had about 4 hours. Because after 4 hours, I've beaten both the evil side and the explorer side on normal as well as heroic. So it's a little bit on the easy side so far. Now, mind you, I originally thought the only difference is going to be for the heroic and normal is you build your own deck instead of using a stock deck. And I thought, well, that's really going to be easy because, I mean, I can build a better deck than they're going to give me. What I didn't realize is the decks that they give you also come with special heroes. Uh-huh. So you get special hero powers. You get cards that aren't included in Hearthstone at all. They're only for those adventures. You get to play Khadgar and pull off crazy shenanigans on turn 1. So obviously it's going to be easier with those kind of tools where if you make your own deck, you don't even get the hero power that's meant for that encounter. So it is more difficult on heroic. And I didn't one and done every single fight. I think a couple of them took me 2 times. But the explorer side, I will say, I don't think the explorer side had a lot of health involved in their fights, which would make it real difficult on heroic without those stock cards. So I just played Uther OTK, and I don't think that it was designed for you to do that because it was really easy when I decided to use Uther, because it doesn't matter what your opponent's health's at all.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, awesome. Yeah, I went through and played it on normal and cleared it first try on normal, and then I have not yet gone back and attempted it on heroic. I got distracted by something else that released this week, or I should say something else that went into open beta this week, which shall not be named. So I haven't gotten a chance to go back and do the heroic yet, but I'm going to, and I look forward to playing it on heroic and seeing how it does.
Now, I will say from a story standpoint, they really knocked
phenomenal.
It out.
Oh, it was amazing.
I was really worried with them going away from the dungeon crawl style and having to go back to telling a story like they did with Knights of the Frozen Throne and Karazhan, if they're going to have the chops. Because honestly, I was really worried about that part, because a lot of the people that were influenced a lot of that content in the past are no longer with the company.
That's true.
So I was wondering, without a Hamilton Chu and a Ben Brode and a Yang Wu, would we get that kind of story? And they did. Now, I don't know how much of that had to do with Joe Mag being on the team, and now that he's gone, if they're going to suffer in that part. But they did a really good job telling this story. And we saw a lot of devs on Twitter talking about the interactions and some of the community reactions to the solo content. And so far, I've heard nothing but positives about it.
Now, the story was the thing I really dug the most, because it was so cool to play through it on the evil side and then switch to the hero side and see it from the exact opposite. Like, you play against the characters that you just played as, and it was really kind of neat to see.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: if it was 3 fights for the evil side facing against the explorers and vice versa, I would be like, hey, this is really kind of lazy. You're basically taking the same stories and flipped them. But no, like 2 of the fights were, well, one was identical on both sides, who you were facing and who you were against. And then one of them was different. You were Khadgar on the explorer side, but on the evil side, it was somebody else, and you weren't facing against Khadgar. And then the third one was the same, but a little different. It was very, very in-depth. To me, I felt like I got 2 solo contents worth of gameplay. And that's something new and from Blizzard to get more than your money's worth. And I believe I got more than my money's worth with this.
Yes, I definitely also agree with that statement. I did buy the full adventure for $19.99 because I knew I was going to want it. The solo content is some of my favorite content in the game. Yeah. So I very much felt like I got my money's worth out of the first wing thus far. For $5, hey, that's money well spent.
And to me, $20 for the full adventure, or 2,800 gold is the 2,800 gold is harder for me to obtain than just the $20. So it's a lot more time invested to pay with gold for me. So I'd rather just pay that cost up front.
Yeah. I agree. So, we like you said a minute ago, we got 11 new cards released with Chapter 1. How do you feel thus far about the impact of these 11 cards on the meta?
So, I actually have the luxury of playing in a league tournament series format, or league formatted tournament series as they're wanting to call THL. And so we kind of had to juggle and find out exactly how the meta is going to switch and get our submissions in by midnight Wednesday, what classes we wanted, and then have our decks ready. Fortunately, my opponent wanted to play on Sunday to give us the most amount of time to decide how to play. And there's 11 new cards in the meta from the first wing, and a lot of them hadn't been debuted. But honestly, only 2 of them have stood out. Winged Guardian, obviously, because of the new they're calling it Dragon Butt Druid, where you're summoning a lot of big, beefy minions with taunt that are hard to get rid of. And then on top of that, you can bring them back with Witching Hour, because Winged Guardian is a beast. But one that kind of jumped out that I did not expect, really, really surprised me, was Bomb Wrangler. So Bomb Wrangler is a warrior 3-mana 2/3 minion. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 1/1 Boombot.
Yes. Yeah, that card, I think, has serious potential.
Bomb Warrior is back, baby. I took it to THL this weekend, and it didn't fail me. My opponent just happened to bring 2 Highlander decks. It threw off the Highlander strategy. Now, a lot of players are just taking Galakrond Warrior and teching in Bomb Wrangler.
Package?
Not the bomb package, just Bomb Wrangler.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is because one deck that's good against the Warrior is your Galakrond Warlock. And one way they can clear the board really easily early on in mid-game is with Dark Skies. But if you play this, the Dark Skies basically becomes a dead card in their hand until they can remove this off the board.
Okay. All right.
And you could play this in coupling with your whirlwind type effects to create bombs to then just give a little bit more chip damage.
Okay, that sounds good.
So I would expect to see that coming into any esports events we have coming up, because these cards are legal.
That's right. And talking about upcoming esports events, we have Masters Tour Arlington coming up this weekend, January 31st through February 2nd. The deck submission deadline is this Thursday at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern. If we have anybody listening that is playing, and guess what, Zerotio? Deck submissions deadline is Thursday. Galakrond's Awakening Chapter 2 drops on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's less than 48 hours. Closer to 36 hours of gameplay time before you have to submit these decks. And those Galakrond's Awakening Chapter 2 cards are confirmed as legal for Arlington.
So let's talk a little bit about those Chapter 2 cards, because if you glance over what's releasing, Hunter's not really getting anything out of this Chapter 2 package, and it looks like one of the only real playable cards right out of the gate might be Hailbringer, which is the 5-mana 3/4 elemental with the battle cry, summon 2 1/1 ice shards that freeze.
Yeah, so they have the effect just like Water Elemental, so they're 1/1s that freeze any character that it does damage to. I don't know how playable it will be, but it is a neutral card, and I think it's just glancing at it, it is the only neutral card. So it is the only card that every player will have into the repertoire aside from the Chapter 1 cards that released this past week. The one that kind of stands out to me, though, is a class as a whole is Shaman. Shaman's been in a weird spot since... Shaman's been in a weird spot since the last nerfs, and they got 2 really good cards. They have a 4-mana 1/4 legendary weapon, the Fist of Raden. After you cast a spell, summon a legendary minion of that cost. Lose 1 durability. We talked about this on the show, I believe it was last episode. I really can see this card kind of fitting into a Shaman alongside Explosive Evolution. Explosive Evolution is a 2-mana spell. Transform a minion into a random one that costs 3 more. The thing that sticks out to me is it says transform a minion. So obviously this can be used to transform one of your minions to 3 more. But it's also transforming, you can transform an enemy's minion. Now, mind you, transforming something that's that turns into a minion that's 3 more mana, it's giving them a lot. But if say Quest Resurrect Priest is expected in the meta, this could be a huge card as like teched in, maybe a one of to throw that off alongside a Hex, to then have that offensive capability as well as a defensive capability. Again, I don't know what everybody's gonna glean from these 8 cards coming in. Are there any of them here that stick out to you? You think might affect Arlington?
Uh, Not right off. Like I said, outside of the neutral card that is going to be available. I think we'll just have to wait and see what stands out from the deck submissions at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
at this, like you said, they have 36 hours to figure out how to best work those cards in, and that's going to be the make or break for players going to Arlington. How they adapt in those 36 hours. And I, for one, am really excited to be able to watch this event the next weekend.
I'll tell you who I think has big advantage is some of the people that are in all these little small tournament series communities. There's a lot of THL players, as well as some community members in the podcasting community. Appa from Coin Concede. He has a great team, as well as some of the sharpest minds in the podcasting community, Ridiculous Hat and Wicked Good on his side, to help him prepare for this. So I actually think having a set drop, a small set of cards drop, just a couple days before submission date is really going to show you who's good. Remember, we had this happen in Vegas last year, where a set of cards, or I think it was a small set of cards, came out just before, and Dog was able to kind of capitalize on that by switching his lineups and ended up just dominating that tournament, along with Gallon, who also is good at that versatile, theory crafting. So I think you're going to see some of the best Hearthstone when you watch this tournament, this weekend, Friday the 31st through Sunday the 2nd. I will definitely be tuning in.
Yes, I will as well, because unlike past events, we will not be watching this event on Twitch.
No.
This past Friday, I guess it was, I guess the news broke on Friday that Blizzard Activision has announced a brand new partnership with Google.
Mm-hmm.
So what does this mean? Well, for one thing, Blizzard Activision is going to be doing all of their cloud hosting, all of their game data with Google Cloud. Another thing is they're going to be using Google's AI for all sorts of game analysis and other analytics. And, this is the biggie, going forward, all esports events will be broadcast exclusively on YouTube. This means Hearthstone, Overwatch League, and the brand new Call of Duty League that launched on Friday as well has been airing exclusively on YouTube. And I have to say, I've enjoyed it. I like it. I've been watching Call of Duty League on YouTube this weekend, along with about 50,000 other people. YouTube chat is just like Twitch chat. It's scrolling way too fast to read. You can't keep up with what's being said anyway, so nobody misses it.
Well, this is good. I'm really Twitch just hasn't been what it used to be. Something about Twitch has kind of changed. I don't know if Amazon's acquisition of Twitch has kind of changed the way Twitch feels. It doesn't feel streamer friendly.
That's the way I feel, is that ever since the Amazon acquisition, things have just not been the same.
It feels like they've catered more towards your everyday streamer, and anytime there's any big events, They don't get the moderator support. They don't get anything to kind of support these big events like Hearthstone or any of these bigger esports. And I think YouTube is in the prime position, and Google as well, to help with that. I'm really curious on the Google Cloud hosting. I wonder if that may mean down the future we could get some more variable data, maybe player pages that we can link people to give data on our game or not. Again, I don't know if it'll be applied to play Hearthstone or not, but it's really interesting. I'm really curious to see in what direction Blizzard Activision goes with this new partnership with Google.
As am I. I think this opens doors. There have been some people saying that this is a last-ditch, desperate attempt for Blizzard to stay alive, and not that they've dropped the ball and spent way too much money on Overwatch League and it's failing, and I just don't see that yet. I feel like that, yes, they may have overspent on Overwatch League, but we're going into Season 2. This is the first time they're going to have home and away games. So you're going to have a ton of ticket sales. You're going to have a ton of merch sales this year at the events. I just feel like this is a step in the right direction. Maybe I don't know if I'd say right direction. This is a step on the journey to what esports can be.
Well, okay, so in the article that we have linked in the show notes from Kotaku, shows that Twitch reportedly spent $90 million for exclusive rights to the first 2 seasons of Overwatch League. And YouTube Gaming's 200 million strong daily active user count will give more potential than Twitch's 15 million daily active. So this is, I hate saying this, but maybe Overwatch League wasn't successful because Twitch, they just didn't have the viewer base established, and maybe they hope to bring in additional viewers, and YouTube already has these 200 million daily user accounts, that even if they only scratch a quarter of that, that exceeds Twitch's by almost double.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see after next weekend. How we'll have to look and see how many viewers watch Masters Tour Arlington on YouTube. If they only average 5 or 10,000, then that's a statement. I think that the viewership isn't there. If they are averaging 30 to 40,000. That's what they were getting on Twitch. I don't see, I think it would be a statement that, hey, this is going to work. We'll just have to wait and see what it looks like next weekend.
Well, I know I'm personally going to be watching a lot of this because Twitch is pretty easy to access from a computer, but if I want to watch it on my phone or watch it on my Apple TV upstairs, the Twitch app is really glitchy and it's buggy, and sometimes it takes me 3 or 4 times to launch to finally get it. But my YouTube app never fails, and it's easy for me to find things on the YouTube app. So as a consumer and somebody that's going to be watching this, I prefer YouTube over Twitch.
Yes, I agree. I do prefer YouTube over Twitch as well. So what does all of this mean for the average Hearthstone player, Zerotio?
I don't know. I guess for the average Hearthstone player, it's to be decided. Now, when it comes to the YouTube and that kind of stuff, you'll be able to access the content a little easier and a little more friendlier. But when it comes to the game itself and just being a player, there might be more here than people see. Because having access to Google Cloud hosting and some of those data and analytics and AI that can be used to parse a lot of that data, that might be something that helps Team 5 make a better ladder experience for the overall player. they can have more tools to analyze the best way to make changes to the ladder and to Hearthstone as a whole. So right now it doesn't mean anything, nothing concrete at least, but there's a possibility we might see a better, quality of life as a Hearthstone player because of the tools that Team 5 and Blizzard has.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So that brings us to this week's Tavern Brawl, which
It was last week's
week's Tavern Brawl. That's right, because they had issues with Trailblazing to Northrend, so they canceled it and brought in a sub Tavern Brawl last week, but it's back. They fixed the issues, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I cleared it, but even if you lose, they give you the option to keep going. It doesn't end the run.
Yeah, I heard this. So I did it last week, and I won and done it. Went all the way through 8 fights. And I was going to do it again, then they took it down. Well, I did it this time, but I got my pack, and I got 6 bosses in, and I was like, I don't really need to do this. I know how it ends. But I heard that if you happen to lose, you get bailed out by a friend of ours.
Bob? It's Parachute Bob or Bob?
Parachute Bob?
Yeah, I forget. It's not actually Bob the innkeeper. And so basically what happens is they take you to the tavern and they give you an option of cards two mana that you can spend on those cards to help you do the match over again, or on the far left hand, on the far left side of your hand, there's a card that says "Portal out" and end the mission.
Okay. So you can quit.
You can quit, but you have to, you have to lose a match, go to the tavern, and then play a card to quit. I love.
I haven't experienced this, but here's my question: if you concede, bottom right hit to concede, it doesn't trigger him, does it?
I have no idea.
So if you're playing this,
I never concede for anything, so
yeah.
I don't know.
So if you're playing this adventure and you still haven't done it yet, and you're getting behind, don't just concede. Let it finish, because it might not. He might not parachute in and save the day unless you're actually going to get beat.
I got up against the boss that his hero power, whenever a card is added to his deck, adds a copy to his hand.
Oh man, that's so hard.
He snowballed me and
I
just destroyed
on that
me.
one.
So I ended up going to the tavern, and there was a card in the tavern for 1 mana that was start the next game with 5 mana and 2 extra cards in hand.
Wow.
So it gave me the advantage I needed to mow him down and move on to the next boss. So,
that's cool.
But it was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a very fun Tavern Brawl. And I may play it again before it goes away on Wednesday, because I've only beat it with one character so far.
Yeah, I'm on it with Elise this time. I beat it with Reno the first time. I might try it again. I might finish my run. That is.
I beat it with Bran the first time. So.
What, you mean you didn't start Reno's story with Reno? You're a horrible human being.
I know, but I love Bran's hero power.
That's true.
Deal 1 damage to a minion and the enemy hero. So. All right, well, that brings us to this week's deck analysis, and Zerotio picked this week's deck. He messaged us and was like, "Hey guys, can I play Token Druid this week?" And we were like, "Absolutely." So I'll run down the deck list, and then I'll turn it over to Zerotio to tell you how it plays. So this Token Druid is 2 Acorn Bearer, 2 Tree Enforcements, 2 Dendrologists, 1 Power of the Wild, 2 Shrubadier, 2 Blessing of the Ancients, 2 Landscaping, 2 Savage Roar, 2 Garden Gnomes, 2 Soul of the Forest, 2 Aeroponics, 2 Anubisath Defender, 2 Force of Nature, 1 Goru the Might Tree, 2 Forest Aid, and 2 Mulch Munchers in the 9-mana slot. So tell us about it, Zerotio.
So first off, my favorite part of this deck is the fact that Shrubadier, when it was first announced, many people on Twitter and various community members were calling this Shrubadier, and I thought it was just hilarious. But this is kind of it's a token druid, but it's like a token treant druid. So there's a lot of treant synergies, one of which is Force of Nature. Force of Nature is, a very old card from the classic set, or it may even be basic. I can't remember. Force of Nature is 5 mana, summon 3 2/2 treants. Now they used to have charge, and they no longer have charge. It was part of the whole Savage Roar Force of Nature OTK combo. But if you play it, you can immediately play Aeroponics for 0 mana to draw 2 cards. So it's an aggro deck that has a lot of really good refill. Also, you have Mulch Munchers in here, where the way to stop this deck is to put really large taunts in the way, like 4/8 taunts or 8/8 taunts, something really big in the way so that your treants just have to run into them. You're going to be losing treants left and right, so Mulch Muncher at that point may be really cheap or free, and it will clear those minions to possibly Savage Roar, double Savage Roar for a quick lethal. This does have staying power. I've gotten really behind and been able to come back because of Soul of the Forest and the abilities to trade with Goru the Maitri. Goru the Maitri is the 7 mana 5/10 taunt that makes all of your treants +1/+1 for the rest of the game. So at that point, anytime you play Forest Aid, those are 3/3 treants instead of 2/2 treants. So there's a lot of good synergies and refill mechanics, and you can burst somebody out by turn 6, or you can go the long game with this, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it's very versatile, and that's important right now, being able to do both, quick or go long if you have to. So, what?
Yeah, currently I'm sitting at about a 57% win rate. I'm still learning the deck. I'm 28 and 21 with it. There are some bad matchups.
I was gonna ask, in your 49 games so far, what seemed to be your best and worst matchups?
So just from feeling, I want to say Mage, but let me actually pull up my stats here. Yeah, Mage I am 0-4 with. I cannot figure out the Mage. The Warlock I'm 2-3 against them, but all the rest are pretty solid. Druid's real popular right now, and Druid, it feels bad when you lose because they put up these huge taunt and you can't get past them. That's the way this new Dragon Butt Druid's going. But I'm 11-7 versus that deck, or versus Druid as a whole. Some of those I think there was only like 2 mirror matches. But majority of the Druids are that big Druid package. But everything else just kind of feels good. It's 8-2 versus Hunter, and that's across all the Hunters. I've seen quite a few of the Highlander Hunters as well as the Face Hunters, and this just outpaces Face Hunter.
Okay, cool. So what do you think is a perfect mulligan? What are you looking to start your games with in this deck?
Having tree enforcements into Dendrologist or Shrubadier is kind of your golden boy. That's your golden hand. If you could open up with tree enforcements and then get into Dendrologist the next turn and kind of snowball from there, maybe a landscaping, that's kind of that 1, 2, 3. Anything, if you're looking for anything, just 1, 2, 3 pretty much. And Dendrologist can give you some crazy refill and other, maybe a third Savage Roar if you need it, which I did that once on turn 8. I was able to Dendrologist, got a third Savage Roar. They were able to clear my minions down to like 2 minions, and I had 3 Savage Roars for lethal. So
okay.
that's not anything your opponent's going to plan for.
Okay. Nice. All right. I guess that's going to pretty much wrap it up. Is there anything you want to add, Zerotio, before we head over to the play portion tonight?
The biggest thing I want to add is I think Hearthstone's going to be heading into your busy season. We're going to have some Masters tours coming up. We're going to get into a lot more of the solo content, and Battlegrounds is really starting to pick up. I think you might start seeing some Battlegrounds type events. Monkey Bubble is doing a tournament, a EU Asia tournament right now. Wicked Good and Necro were on the casting team for that, and it wrapped up last night. I'm sure you'll hear more about that over at Coin Concede when they'll talk about that. But Hearthstone's really starting to pick up again, and we're going to get into spring coming up, and come mid to late March, we're going to hear about what the next set in April is going to be, and here in the next few weeks, we're probably going to hear what the next year theme is going to be. This year's Year of the Dragon. So this is kind of every other set has this lull period right before the next set, but after the third set going into the next year is kind of unique, where you do have a lull period, but you start hearing rumors and data mines and leaks and stuff. So keep your ears open. If we hear anything, we're definitely going to make sure to talk about it on the show.
All right, so here's something I'm throwing out to all of our listeners. What do you want to see next year? The year of what? What do you think the year could be? And what kind of story, now that we know all three sets are going to be connected going forward, what kind of story would you want to see? So think about that. And then tweet us at HeroPower_cast and let us know. We'd love to hear from you guys and talk about it with you.
Can I tease what I would like?
Sure.
Year of the Hound, and the first is a Scarlet Crusade expansion.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. All right. I like it. All right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. If you are joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of the show. If you are listening via our audio podcast, we'd like to thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube at youtube.com/ECMMOGamers or on our website at HeroPowerHS.com. If you enjoy the show, you'd like to help support and improve it, you can do that by joining our Patreon over at patreon.com/HeroPower. And we'll see you all again next week.
And don't forget to use your hero power.
Alrighty. So I'm going to launch Hearthstone here. Are you getting ready to look for a worthy opponent?
I sure am. I miss those guys.
Haven't seen them in a while, yeah.
No, it's been too long.
So, all right.
Sleeving up the Treant Token Druid. I've been having a lot of fun with Bomb Warrior as well, but right now the Token Druid is doing better in the meta. I think when Highlander decks start becoming predominant again, I'll pull the Bomb Warrior back out.
Well, I'm a big control player, and I really am interested in this big butt Dragon Druid that you've been talking about. I want to see this deck list.
There's been a few different variations, and the most recent one has Embiggen.
I'm a big fan of Embiggen. The very first deck I played out of the gate launch day for Descent of Dragons was an Embiggen Dragon Druid.
Yeah, I mean it uses the quest where you spend 10 mana on minions and it brings out a minion out of your deck. So it's definitely got legs. It's probably what we'll see a lot when we play now. Go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and queue up.
Okay.
This deck can beat it. for a while I was like, wow, I just need to stop playing Treant because I can't beat that deck. And I looked at my stats and I realized at the time I was like 9-6 versus. I was like, oh, okay, well maybe I'm beating it. It just doesn't feel like it.
Right.
Because when you lose bad. It feels horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Druid versus Druid.
So we have Shrubadier and Landscaping in our hand. I would throw back the Force of Nature.
Okay.
Just because we got that 2-3, we want to get that 1 if we can. And we don't have the coin. So let's hope we can draw a Acorn Bear or Tree Enforcements. We didn't. Now the Garden Gnome's kind of weird because we threw back the Force of Nature and I would have liked to have it. But we got Aeroponics. So that's good. If we're behind and don't have any trees, treants in play, the Garden Gnome will activate off the Aeroponics. We'll pass turn 1, which means we're probably going to trade if the situation arises. Ooh, Soul of Force. This is looking good.
Okay.
So we're obviously going to Shrubadier.
Summon a 2/2 Treant.
I expect him. He didn't play the quest, which means he either didn't draw it,
Or he's playing token.
Maybe he held a lot. He held 3 cards out of the 4 in his mulligan. I have seen people hold the Embiggen to try to draw some cheaper minions because they don't want to increase the cost too much, and then they Embiggen like on turn 2 or 3.
Coin Wild Growth.
Okay, this is not a standard build.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and Landscaping.
Okay.
And then because I drew the Force of Nature to activate with the Garden Gnome, I can now play the Aeroponics. So I'm going to Aeroponics, and hopefully I can draw into some... Oh, that's nice. Ooh, there's another Aeroponics. I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
And this is the refill I was talking about. This is looking good. He's slow playing so far. Maybe we'll just see a swipe here. Second Wild Growth. That looks so good for us. Innervate Wrath?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh, we draw on a Savage Roar.
So.
We got a couple options here.
We do, because we've got the Dendrologist to discover a spell. We've got the Garden Gnome is active because we're holding a spell that costs 5 or more.
The Garden Gnome might be a little bit greedy because that's really extending on the board. I like the idea of Soul of the Forest here.
Okay, yeah. That way they're sticky.
Exactly. That way, if he does clear our board, we're going to have some 2/2s left behind. Especially now that we have a Savage Roar here, we could possibly use it to trade if he throws out a big taunt. The double ramp is... There's a big taunt. Tree Enforcements looks good.
Do you want a Dendrologist and see what we draw?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking possibly just check out with Dendrologist. So yeah, let's Dendrologist first. There's not a lot of impactful minions here.
Right.
So Embiggen's probably not great.
What do you think about Witchwood Apple?
Witchwood Apple is okay, but it puts those minions in your hand. I like the idea of Claw, just to have that last bit of damage. I think we're going to need it.
Okay.
So let's Claw, and then I'm going to Savage Roar to clear this.
Okay.
So we'll put 2 of these treants into it.
Plus the face.
And this still gives us a good solid board he has to deal with.
Yeah. Okay.
And obviously one of them still has the Death Rattle for the treant. So we have some stick on the board. Okay. Alright, so we have 3 damage with our Hero Power. So that's 3 mana there. I think we Claw Hero Power, trade 2 treants in, and then we can Landscaping to get those treants back.
Okay.
So we'll Claw Hero Power. Go ahead and I'm gonna preserve the death rattle one.
Yep.
And I'm trading in the treants specifically because obviously mulch muncher. I don't want to trade in the 2/3, but having those die is going to help our mulch muncher.
Right.
Which I hope hopefully we draw into. Because we might need it. He's obviously playing a lot of big taunts.
Archmage Vargoth, okay. Ferocious
Owl. That's a lot of armor.
That is a lot of armor.
So I think we got to clear off that Vargoth.
Okay.
So I'm going to trade 2 treants in and the dendrologist, and then I'm going to refill with the garden gnome.
Okay.
That's what's really nice. You can trade off the treants and almost replace them.
Right.
So we'll tree enforcement for 1 more and hero power. This isn't as sticky as I want it to be. He can clear this fairly easily if he has the cards for it. Like Starfall. Undasta. This is a weird build.
Okay.
So he's probably going to get a Witchwood Grizzly? Oh no. Okay, so this is that big butt style. So we're going to have to trade all of our minions into that. So that's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to Forest Aid, followed by a Nubasath.
Okay.
The problem is he still has that Undasta out.
Right.
If he keeps able to put a big taunt every single turn, there's only going to be so much we can eventually go. Here's the strength of number. This is the deck that I was telling you about that you would like.
Yeah.
This is a greedier list too. It doesn't have a lot of the small dragons in it. Oh, he doesn't have a beast in his hand. Okay. That's good.
Now you could clear.
We can clear, and that probably is what we have to do.
You can clear, kill Undasta, and go face for 2.
Yep. So that's what we're going to do here. The Undasta, I think, has done his damage. The question is, do we use the Forest Aid?
Why not just Force of Nature here?
I like Force of Nature and the Garden Gnome.
Yeah.
Get really wide. Obviously, if we keep using our expensive spells, we're going to lose the value of the Garden Gnome after a while. So we'll save the Force of Nature. I would save the
Forest Aid.
The Forest Aid, yeah.
Yeah.
So now he has to figure out how he... And that's the thing about this deck, is that keep put out the taunt, but if we keep refilling the board, then there's only so much they can do. Man.
Yeah, that's going
to be out of taunt soon. And he's 3 damage wrathing. Okay. Dendrologist, see what he can give us. Okay. Give us a Savage Roar. Savage Roar, Savage Roar. Not. Well, more refill.
Yeah, I think you take the Force.
Wait a minute. No, Juicy Psych Melon. We'll get a Mulch Muncher.
That's true.
Yeah. So we Psych Melon. We'll get a Goru. Force the other Force save. We'll get a Mulch Muncher. Okay. We can Mulch Muncher. We'll need to trade. So we're going to trade 3 in our face.
Yeah.
And then we mulch muncher. Go face. Acorn bear. And I think I actually give +2 health to the mulch muncher.
Okay.
That way it can't easily be swiped. Or I don't think it's run Starfall, but obviously swipe is probably in this list.
Right.
This is a weird, this very, very heavy list. I haven't seen this list before. And we're threatening lethal on the board right now, just from chip damage.
Right.
Through 2 hefty ferocious howls. There's the swipe. See, he could have just swiped a 2/2. Oh, 2 double swipe. But this is fine. We have, I think we
Goru squirrels, right?
I think we forested.
Okay.
Because we can Goru behind it.
Okay. All right.
Because he's used both swipes now. But I do like the idea of putting on both squirrels. The reason is this threatens lethal, and he has to put a minion or clear minions, and it'll open up space for Goru. Okay, Witching Hour. This is... Okay. That's not the one he wanted.
Nope, he wanted a...
He wanted the taunt.
He wanted a taunt, yeah. Because this is lethal.
This is lethal if he doesn't have a... He might have a beast in his hand. He doesn't.
Goru face.
Goru face. So the Undasta bit him. And this is what I was talking about, how this aggressive list can go the long game.
Yeah.
You just have to be patient.
That's right.
There was a few times with those taunt walls, we would have been tempted to concede, I was like, well, how are we going to get through this? We'll have to use all our resources to get through this.
Right, but you've got so much refill.
Yes. With the forest aids and all of the... I mean, you basically traded on your minions and put those minions right back out into play. You can put 4 to 5 2/2 treants into play every turn.
Yeah.
Once you get into the mid game, turn 5 and ahead.
Another Druid.
So I think I'm going to throw this whole hand back and hope for 1 and 2s.
Okay.
Obviously, Blessing of the Ancients isn't really good unless you have treants out. Shrubadier is a good C here.
Shrubadier.
Yeah. Now, I like playing the Power of the Wild as a 3/2 when you're low on resources.
Uh-huh.
And you might end up having to do that. It's not bad to just put a 3/2 out that can be buffed with Ancients or even Savage Roar. Okay, now this is the deck I see a lot of. And so far, in my experience, this deck counters it. Now, it's not a perfect, really high win rate, but it's a good solid 57% win rate against this deck. So
okay.
Again, that's my experience. It's not HS Replay. I don't know what HS Replay says the stats are. My internal testing with my team says that this is a good counter for this deck. Ooh. Now, this is the version I've seen with Bad Luck Albatross being teched in to go against the Highlander decks. Question is, what do we do here?
What about Blessing of the Ancient? Clear and hit him for 2.
Do we need to clear?
I mean, not necessarily.
I like Blessing of the Ancients.
And then just
the question
hit him
is,
for 5?
I think we just hit him for 5.
Okay.
Because he will likely trade the 4/3 into the 2/2 to value trade it. We can hero power alongside Power of the Wild for a 3/2 next turn.
Okay.
If he trades in a 3/3, that's even greater. Yeah. I don't think we need to do that. So I like Power of the Wild for a Panther. Hero Power the 4/1 down and just go face.
Yeah.
Make him feel like he has to trade. Don't make any trades for him.
There's 2 more minions we can buff up to kill him with.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably trade into the tree here, which is fine.
Double breath. Okay.
Now this is where you get a lot of your support cards, and you don't have. Yeah, we're missing out real bad here.
Yeah. Do you hard cast aeroponics?
It doesn't feel good
It doesn't.
unless we draw into Anubisath Defender. Then it does. But I think that's what we have to do. We didn't get Anubisath Defender, but we got some other tools. So we'll just go face. Again, make him make that trade.
Right.
Because he's in a position he needs to trade. We don't. Now, he might not trade now. Wow. Dragon Ball Poacher in this list. That's surprising.
Yeah. I guess he's expected to see a lot of
Dragons,
lot of mirror matches.
I think I'm going to Albatross and Tree Enforcements into Soul of the Forest.
Okay.
It seems like a weak play.
But it's going to generate you treants.
But it's going to generate treants, and which empower the Mulch Munchers. And Goru is probably going to come down next turn. And if we have any of those treants stick, then they're now 3/3s.
Yes.
Again, we want him to trade. He's probably going to trade into the treant and then the treant that drops. Or am I just trading into the one treant? Okay, so he's just going to leave us one treant up. Okay. So we Goru, make him go through it, and I'm not going to
trade
run the tree into it, because if he trades the 4/6 into Goru as part of the damage, then we can finish it off with a hero power.
Right. He should.
Though we're probably going to want.
He should probably go 5/5 and 4/2 and face to clear Goru unless he has a way to buff.
That's how I would do it, but he might want to sustain the 5/5, trade the 5/5 into the 4/3.
Evasive worm.
Yep.
Very good.
And he doesn't use his hero power.
Yeah.
He is valuing his health by a lot, which is good. Good for us. I think we just Forest Aid.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I like Forest Aid into aeroponics. So one thing I love about aeroponics, it's basically free.
Yep.
Ooh.
There's a Mulch Butcher.
We got us a Mulch Muncher. That's key to this matchup. Or this variation of the deck's matchup.
Right.
Cast another strength. The Oasis Surger is so strong in this build because it clears so many of the small minions. Oh, yeah. Wow. Some resources.
Yep.
So we trade in the 3/4 to the 4/3.
Yep.
We play the Mulch Muncher and trade. And then I say we Force Aid again.
Yeah.
And we'll just toss down this Albatross just to take a buff next turn.
Yeah,
and now
if
we're
he doesn't
threatening
clear
lethal.
it, you can Savage Roar.
Yep. We can Blessing of the Ancients and Savage Roar. See, he's just going to throw down a taunt. And he'll probably get another taunt. Oh, he didn't get a taunt.
Didn't.
He'll trade into the Mulch Muncher. Okay. Swipe. Is this lethal?
5, 6, 7, 8. So you got 15 going face the way I count it.
So we'll go Blessing of the Ancients, Savage Roar,
Yeah. Hero power.
Hero Power. So we got 18 going to face.
Yep, 18. So he'll be at 2.
And I probably should have played Distributor. That's a misplay. I was just off of my math. I thought it was lethal. I don't know where I was coming up with the damage. But that's, I mean, we're still in a good spot. I don't know what he does. He's used both of his strength and numbers, so he's not going to cheat out any more taunts. There we go.
2-0.
That's how you win it.
Just like that.
The thing about this deck against in that matchup, you feel behind the entire time.
Yeah.
But the important thing is get that chip damage on their face every chance you get, because you are the aggressor. You're the beatdown. They are the ones that have to trade to you. If they don't trade, they're going to lose. You have to remember that. And as a control player that's playing an aggressive deck, that took me a long time to learn and do well. I wouldn't even say I'm doing it well, but there's a lot of time. Now there are times to trade. If you don't trade and they can get a better value trade on you, then you want to trade. But if they're going to make the best trade possible every time, and your board state's not going to really suffer from it, just go face. I mean, obviously, if you have an 8/3 Mulch Muncher and a 3/3 Treant, you want to trade the 3/3 Treant into whatever can kill the Mulch Muncher, because obviously you'll get more damage that way.
Right.
But if they're all 3/3s, then it doesn't matter. Just go face. As long as they don't have a counter lethal represented, yeah, just go face.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. Quick 2-0 tonight. From the Token Druid. A lot of fun. Enjoy it. It should be the deck list code will be in the show notes on heropowerhs.com. Every deck we play, show notes you can always find them in the show notes. So,
and it beats the hot deck right now. So if you're listening on the download on Monday before the new adventure wing comes out, this is what everybody's playing, is that big butt taunt based Druid. There has so many names right now. I don't know what anybody's calling it, but this deck beats it.
So, all right, guys, that's gonna do it for us this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Give us a follow on Twitch to be alerted when we go live. For more details about our patron-only Discord, head over to patreon.com/heropower. Until next week, good gaming.
Bye, guys.